my Greek is also very basic, and that's why I think you will prefer I go on in English, and we'll start my presentation in English. I'm working for Austrian Mobility Research, AMOR in short. AMOR maybe also because we really love what we are doing there. We are dealing with mobility management for a long time now. I'm not really a bicycle expert. My favorites are mobility centers, but I enjoy the opportunity to be here today and talk about our experience in Austria. Yeah, and the title of my presentation is Car Use is Curable. Let's see if it is or not. Many of our cities are car sick today. What you see on the right side, the highway, and on the left side what you see there is a cemetery. And I think we can say the more we have on the right side, the more we also have on the left side. You just told us about the accidents also in Poland. But interesting is that it's not only accidents. Accidents, yes, we have some accidents, yeah. Some people are killed or their lives are shortened due to pollution and exhaust emissions. But guess what is the most important problem when talking about cemeteries and traffic? It's the lack of exercise. We don't move enough anymore. We don't use our bones, our muscles. We use motorized vehicles. So we can say the more we have on the right, the more we will get on the left. Very sure. There was an article in the New York Times time ago saying that driving is the new smoking. And that driving is a kind of addiction. And I think there are some similarities. It's an addiction, the same as smoking. I'm the living proof that you can overcome an addiction. I stopped smoking and I stopped car driving, so I got rid of both of my addictions. It's possible. But what you need is a quite, I would say, radical approach. It's not possible to get rid of addictions just like going easy. You have to really go a radical way. Let's think of the smoking ban in restaurants, for example. Who was believing that maybe this could change smokers' behavior? I remember in Italy we said the Italians will never stop smoking only because it's not possible. They stopped smoking. So why not to have an exhaust ban in cities and see what will happen? Anyway, is it an addiction or not? In any case, a change is possible. What you see here is the model split of Graz from 1998 to 2008. Not very impressive, I would say. We will see why later. But we had at least an improvement from 14 to 16%, the yellow part of the bars, in bicycle share. If we compare this to Bolzano in Italy, for example, this is a very impressive example. There's a shift from within 7 years from 18% to 29% in bicycle traffic. And why? The people in Bolzano, they took a very integrated approach. It was a very well combined strategy consisting of marketing, awareness raising, but also infrastructure. And it was not only this, it was also the restriction of car traffic, of the privileges car drivers have. And in this combination, the brand Bici Bolzano became something like, for the city of Bolzano, became something like, I would say, the Uso for Greeks somehow. It fits together very well and it belongs to each other, and you can't have the one without the other. That's how I see it with the Uso. So, yeah, they combined their measures, their activities with car restriction, and these were partly very, very simple things. For example, they just banned the traffic in front of schools in the morning and in the evening, in the afternoon when school ended. So parents had to rethink their mobility behavior. Usually they went in the morning to take the kids to the school, and they go to work by car, they go shopping, and on the way back in the afternoon they pick up their kids to go home. This was not possible anymore because there were two signs saying no. Here, no car traffic, sorry, not in the morning and not in the afternoon. And this worked very well and made people thinking about their mobility behavior in a whole. all it needs, and this is very, I mean, it's no money, it's nothing, it's just a bit of courage and some brave people to implement a measure like this and to put 2 signs and make people think about their behavior. In Graz, fortunately, in the late 80s, we had a quite brave mayor who also went this radical way and implemented parking policy and access restriction in Graz. He introduced paid short-term parking, quite expensive. He reduced the parking space. There was a continuous extension of these paid parking areas and a conversion of former car parking lanes into bike lanes. This was combined with efficient enforcement of paid short parking areas and, of course, all the other public spaces that are related to misuse of parked cars, like loading zones or the parking for handicapped people or so on. And all the money out of this parking business was put into measures for public transport or cycling projects. So what happened? I mean, due to this converting of parking space into short-term paid parking, the inner city parking could be reduced by 80%. And reduced parking in the inner city means more space for pedestrians and more space for bicyclists. As you can see here, it's the same square before and after. So this also means a higher quality of life and enough space for bicyclists. Really not only a brave mayor, a smart mayor. He did a good job. Another example what to do with the new space, all of a sudden empty space, is art meets parking or parking meets art. So this is, I think, really an improvement of the city's face and appearance. Another quite important or very important decision in 1992, the same brave mayor, was the implementation of speed limits. So we have in Graz a speed limit of 30 kilometers per hour for all roads in the city, except priority roads. But in front of schools and kindergartens, also priority roads have this speed limit of 30 kilometers per hour. And this is a very efficient tool to make bicycle more safety. This, of course, again combined with an efficient enforcement of the speed limits. Otherwise, it will not work. That's for sure. And the police in this case was supported by communal speed control and private controllers. He implemented some zones of mixed-use traffic with priority for pedestrians with a maximum of 20 kilometers per hour speed limit, and home zones where cars are only allowed to go in pedestrians' speed. The interesting fact in this, or the funny thing at least, was that before the implementation of this measure, the mayor and his experts were thinking about what the Austrian citizens, the Graz citizens would say about this, if they would agree to a measure like this, and if maybe we should have a kind of survey to ask people if they want it or not. And somehow they found out that about 70% of the citizens of Graz would not agree to such a speed limit implementation. So again, the mayor was smart and said, okay, let's wait with the survey. So the measures were implemented, and after 1 year, they went for this survey. Yeah, and guess what the result was? 70% of the citizens of Graz agreed to this measure. They liked it a lot, and they were very content with the effects, because they could feel it in their own surrounding, that the car traffic went down, it was slower and more safe. So actually, yes, sometimes it's better not to ask in advance, but just to do things. We heard already about the school street model in Bolzano, this ban of driving in front of schools and kindergartens. Other things we did in Graz, we tried out things like holiday streets, playing streets, where for a couple of weeks, 1 or 2 weeks maybe in summer, the streets were closed for car traffic, just to make people feel how it is to be without, and somehow to create a desire of having more of this. Especially in the mobility week in September or the car-free day, this is quite easy to implement. So car restriction, on the one hand, it's very important, but on the other hand, of course, we had to improve the infrastructure for the floating cycle traffic. And this was, first of all, bike lanes, the creation of new bike lanes, creation of cycle highways to make bicyclists going from A to B in a safe and fast and direct way. We had to close the gaps in the bicycle lane network. Still, we are closing gaps. To reduce the sidewalk cycle lanes, then also like in Poland, in Gdansk, we developed a very good guidance system for bicyclists with signs and pictograms, and of course easy readable bicycle maps, which are also available online for download. Just a few photos. It's not Graz, not all of them. It's the first of all, can you see it? In the upper left, it's in Odense, where you can see this special path for the bicyclists. Then the other one was the blue highway. It's in Copenhagen. Yes, we all know it. Below you find the Munich bicycle way, and the other one, this on the left down, is an undercrossing in Graz, only for pedestrians and bicyclists along the river. I would say the bigger the bicycle lane is and the more colorful the bicycle lane is, the more the city loves the bicyclists somehow. So this is a good parameter to see if your city welcomes cyclists or not. Another approach we took in Graz is working with housing areas and accommodation facilities. This is nothing that came to our mind all of a sudden. We took this idea from Ferrara, where it worked very well. And lately you can, in some hotels in Graz, if you check in and you get the key for your room, you also get the key for your bike, plus a bicycle map. And hopefully you are then motivated enough to explore the city by bike. We will see. I'm quite sure this will work very well. Some special projects we have, like for example the mobility management in the Technical University of Graz. There they did in a small scale what we did years before in a big scale in Graz, this restriction of car privileges. They just reduced the car parking all of a sudden from 1,600 to 700, and they introduced a paid parking. And again, the money was used for public transport tickets, for bicycle racks. They ordered and then offered 1,000 company bikes and a very well working bike service. Also in the surrounding of the university, about 2 kilometers, parking was not possible anymore. It was a restricted area. So actually people were forced to use either public transport or the bike. Through these measures, the car traffic could be cut in half. And it works very well. You can see these bicycles, it's a special design also for the bikes. You can see them all over in the city. Then of course, like in Poland, we try to educate and socialize kids. We go to kindergartens and start biking with them. We have this bicycle training for the primary school. In real traffic, we go out in the jungle to try biking and to learn biking in reality and not in a protected area. And we also offer cycling training for migrants, because we could see that they are, in a lot of cases, not very familiar with biking. So this is another thing we love to do, definitely. Yes, the aim is just teaching the next generation to step away from the car, to get the cars out of the kids' rooms and not to implement it in their heads, so that the only thing they want then is the driving license when they are 18. And to show them somehow, and I think this picture shows it very well, the beauty of biking and the freedom you can feel by biking. Another point is the cycle logistics. We know that people do shopping on food, only 19% shopping on food by public transport, 4% shopping by bike, and 77 go shopping by car. But on the other hand, there's a big potential to change this behavior. 80% of all these things that were shopped could be transported in a bike basket, 14% on a bike trailer, and only 6% of all these things we buy daily do necessarily need to be shopped with a car, to be transported with a car. So here's a lot of potential to change people's behavior again. And we started this in this project, Psychologistic in Graz, where people have the possibility, the option to try out bike trailers. On the left hand you see the ex-vice mayor, not the smart one, but also a very smart one, but unfortunately ex, who is trying out a trailer, or to implement competitions or reward actions where people, if they bike and buy, get special rewards. The Trendy Travel project, quite a time ago, but left us with some nice ritualized bike activities in the city of Graz. We have every year in spring a flea market. It's like Christmas and Easter, so it's the flea market. A ladies' repair night, very nice, I think, especially for women, where they learn to repair their bikes. The romantic full moon bike ride, which happens 6, 7, 8 times per year, very nice also. Activities to make people feel good with their bikes. The Bike to Work month, which you probably know. A light and brakes check we have when the summertime was turned into winter time. Then we have, in cooperation with the police, this bicycle check. Cakes and teas for winter cyclists, which were offered in Vienna also. Then activities like Pimp My Bike or the critical mass rides on Friday, which you probably also know. You can see this was a flea market in spring. People bring their bikes, they sell bikes or parts of bikes or whatever is needed for biking. The Bike to Work. The light and brakes check, the police. Yeah. And finally, what we have in Graz is the monitoring and evaluation. I think this is quite important. We have a household survey every 5 years, and we try to use the bicyclists as a kind of resource to get more information how to improve the system. So it's a monitoring also of the safety situation for bicyclists. It's a monitoring of the number of bicycle wrecks. And it's a kind of counting possible. Unfortunately, we don't have a public counting machine like you can see there below. This is in Bolzano. They have this public automatic counting machine, so everybody can see how many people were on bike today, and they celebrate it. You know, they have competitions like the 1 millionth bicyclists or so. So you can see, oh wow, it's the 999,999th bicyclist. Maybe I can be the 1 millionth, the first millionth bicyclist, and it's a kind of motivation for people to go on bike. Yes, I come to an end, I think. You may say, okay, that's very nice in Greece, it's Central Europe, things are different there. Here in Greece, people don't want to use the bike, or in Italy, maybe they don't want to use the bike. This picture is taken in Oulu, which is in Finland. And Finland has 140,000 inhabitants, and it's somewhere in the Arctic Circle with 6 months snow. And when I say 6 months snow, I don't mean a little snowing. They have snow, like you can see it in this picture. And guess what? They have a bicycle share of 20%. There's snow 6 months of the year. And why? Just because most probably they had some brave politicians who implemented enough and the right measures to make the city a bike-friendly city. And so people use the bike, no matter what weather, no matter what conditions. And if we compare this to, you know, maybe this place, Nicosia in Cyprus, There the bike share is only 2%. They had also politicians who took other decisions. They took the decision to go for a car-friendly city, and now they have, I think, as far as I heard, almost 80% of car traffic there. And this is, I guess, a record in the European Union, car traffic. So we get what we want and what we start implementing, which we can see here, very well. In a city with a good mobility culture, and this is unfortunately not Graz yet. I hope 2020, when we reached our model share of 24%, I think is the aim. We have the same pictures, more of them in Graz. In a city with bike culture, you find young people on the bike, you find the old people on the bike, you find people on the bike who are really in a hurry, you find those who have a lot of time, they use the bike. You find people on bike who prefer to have the girlfriend in front of the bike, or others who prefer to have it in the back. You find people in leisure suites as well as the one in business clothes and very elegant gentlemen. You find those who want to talk to each other as well as those who prefer to talk on the mobile and to have a short call at home. In a city with a good bike culture, people bike in the sun, but also in the rain, sometimes with additional support, and in best case, also the officials are using the bike. So I am very sure that the car use is curable. I am cured, so let's go for it. Thank you for your attention.